Hello everyone, we are another nerdy couple, and in today's video, that's it. It's the end. We're talking about the last episode of The Mandalorian Season 2. And boy, was it an episode, huh?
I'm not okay.
It's great. So, we have to start it off the way we start off everything. Initial reactions.
20 out of 10.
20 out of 10.
No, it was really good though. I
really
did
good.
write 20 out of 10, but 10 out of 10 is 10 is 10
10
out of
10,
10.
10 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and I think the last few scenes, 20 out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
But the rest of the episode was good.
Oh, it was a great episode.
But I was not at 20 out of 10 the whole episode. I think I was at 10 out of 10 for most of the episode.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
One of the best episodes I ever done seen. And it's not just a 10 out of 10 episode. It really is. Even in comparison to other Mandalorian episodes, it's probably my favorite one. This might just be because it's new. We just watched it. But it's got to be the best Mandalorian episode.
It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah. And, I mean... Well, we'll get into all the details of why.
The details. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Anyway,
So I don't even remember where it starts because the end is just on my head.
solid opening scene. That's what I wrote. I liked it. I want to say it was Kara doing some stuff that was good. What was she doing? What was she doing? We just saw the episode.
I wrote "Don't piss off Dune."
Yeah, because she was doing something. She was kicking butt. Whose butt she was kicking? Not a clue.
All right, well.
Because there was a good opening scene, and then there was the da-da-da-da-da, and then don't piss off. Oh, I don't know when you started writing. But the next scene was when we go to Bo-Katan.
Yeah. We'll just start there.
We'll start there. We might come back.
We might. It might come back to us. But when we saw Bo-Katan with the Mandos, that was a nice scene too.
Such a good scene.
And because Boba Fett walks in and they're like, "You ain't a Mandalorian."
Wait, that's right. Cara didn't even go to that.
Yeah, that one was just Mando and Boba. I don't remember what Cara was just doing. Something. Honestly, but
she was getting so she was and she stole this kind of ship.
Oh, okay.
The Imperial one.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
She stole the Imperial ship and was talking to the doctor. And the other guy, who I know is from something, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
She was talking to them, and the guy kept saying all these little things.
Yeah,
and Alderaan this, Alderaan that, you suck. And then she just went, bloop!
Yeah.
Knocked him.
Dead.
Yeah.
Not knocked him out.
No, knocked him dead.
Knocked him dead.
Is knocked him not the word?
Yeah, that was a really good scene.
It was a good scene.
It was a good scene. It was the hostage situation and all that. Yeah, it was really good.
It was good.
But then, we do that. We have that ship now. And now Boba and Mando go and are talking to Bo-Katan, right? Mm-hmm. And as soon as they walk in, the other Mandalorian with Bo-Katan, I don't know her name, she looks at Boba Fett and Boba Fett's and Boba Fett says something or whatever, and Bo-Katan's you're not a real Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And he's like, I never said I was.
I didn't claim that.
All right, that ain't me. And, just a couple things that they, that scene was just so, combative.
I wrote down a few good ones. Ready?
Yeah. Hit me with
Don't you mean your donor?
Yes.
When he said,
my father.
It's my father, whatever.
It's my father's armor.
Yeah. Don't you mean your donor? And I was like,
yeah, dude.
Right?
Because he's a clone.
Yeah. And then later, the girl goes, oh, I've heard your voice so many times, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and he's like, mine might be the last one you hear. Dude. And I was like, oh!
Bro, give me more of that. And they might. We'll see.
Oh, man.
I love that scene, and that just like I don't know what the backstory is between them, but I want more of it.
Yeah, I think it's just
that
anti-clone
he's a poser.
Imperials,
yeah, right?
And like you're not a Mandalorian,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I don't think they have beef with non-Mandalorians. I think it's the clone thing, and that he came from the Empire.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but that was really good. But then we convinced them because we're like, okay, we can track Moff Gideon's ship. Come with us. And Bo-Katan's like, I need that Darksaber, right? So I'm strapped up. Let's go.
Let's go.
So they convince them, and now they're talking about the plan. They're back on the ship. They're talking about the plan. They're like, we should do this, blah, blah, blah. But then the doctor that was held hostage that we now have was like, there's some issues. There's some issues here.
I think his main concern was just the Dark Troopers.
Right.
Yeah, he was like, how are you gonna fight them?
Yeah, and they didn't want to trust him at first because he's an imp, and
Imperial.
Yeah, and Bo-Katan was like, let's hear what he has to say, right? And he just spills the beans immediately, right? Like,
pours out.
I mean, what do you expect? What do you expect from a doctor? They spill beans.
They spill them.
That's what they do.
That's illegal.
So he tells them like, this is where the Dark Troopers are going to be, blah, 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 all that stuff. Like, it takes 3 minutes to warm them up because they're robots, not people, huh?
Robots.
Stuff like that. So he just gives them all the deets. And now they're formulating this plan, and, Bo-Katan's like, we'll go in 2 parties, one to do this, one to get the kid or whatever, and Mando's like,
Yeah.
I go alone.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going in there by myself.
Right. And she was just like, without even skipping a beat, she was like, okay, so this is the new plan. I was like...
Yeah. All right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I guess we already knew that the saber was once Bo-Katan's, but like I didn't know that, and I was like, when was that hers?
Yeah.
But like I get it, and like I knew it was a saber that was like, you're the king of Mandalore now, blah blah blah, the leader, whatever, of Mandalore now, and like I knew she was the leader, but I'm like, I don't remember.
Right. And
you saying that you had it?
The entire time of them making the plan, she was stressing. She's like, I don't care what everybody does, but Moff Gideon is mine.
He's mine.
Right? And Cara Dune was like, well, we can't kill him because, like, he's got like this price on the ISB or whatever. And
she's like, that's fine,
like,
but he's mine.
Yeah.
I am taking him down.
Right. Exactly.
Regardless of if I'm killing him or not, I'm taking him down.
Exactly. And like it was just weird. It was like, what's the big deal? Like, why can't Mando be the one who smacks him around a bit?
It was just like, well, whoever sees him first,
right, is gonna
take him out.
Right. But like, nobody after that, we just kind of let it drop, and it was like, okay, like, we'll see what happens.
Ooh, something else I want to point out. So I like to take notes during these episodes, right? Asking about when the saber was hers is the last thing I wrote until like almost the end of the episode because it was so good, and I was just like,
oh yeah, no, we just got sucked in. Yeah.
So from here on out, just great.
Yeah. So now they're beginning their plan, right? They're in hyperspace, and they're about to roll up on the big old Imperial ship, and Boba Fett is behind our ship, which is an Imperial transport ship.
Yes, the one they took earlier.
And Boba Fett and Bo-Katan are communicating, and Bo-Katan's like, make it look interesting, like, make those shots look good. And he was like, listen, just put your rear shields on, all right? This might get bumpy for you, Yeah. And so as soon as they jump out of hyperspace, Boba Fett immediately starts shooting at them. I'm like, okay, I see where this is going, right? And, Bo-Katan's like, help, we need emergency docking right now. This is transport 2, blah, 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 let us in. And the person at the computer is just like, what do I do?
And she was like, oh, yeah. Like, she looked like she was like, oh, let him in. And then Moff Gideon's like, hold on a second.
And he says, like, scramble the TIE fighters or whatever. And I was like, that's not an invitation to dock. That's the TIE fighters are coming out. We'll deal with this, And I was like, how's it? Because, like, if Boba Fett is missing all these shots on the transport, which is a large ship, and he just absolutely snipes the TIE fighters right there, it's like, So he continues to miss the TIE fighters, but now he's just dodging them as they're chasing him and, all that stuff. And Bo-Katan's like, bro, I'm going in. Like, I don't care. You know?
Yeah, and I think, too, it was really smart because she's now blocking it from other TIE fighters coming out. So as she's coming in, the TIE fighters are, like, going around her. And then Boba's, like, shooting at them, but not really, and doing these evasive maneuvers. But, like, coming at them, too.
Right.
So she's going in, and she blocks any more from coming out. Yeah. And then Boba, like, once she's in, Boba snipes the TIE fighters and just blasts off. Dude. And I was like, okay.
Hyperspace.
Okay.
Yeah. And as Bo-Katan is, like, making her emergency docking, even though she was not allowed to, you could see Moff Gideon's face is kind of like something's up.
This
like,
is sus.
Because in general, as we've seen, Imperial troopers, officers don't disobey orders.
Oh, for sure.
And this is technically disobedience of the order.
Yeah.
So I feel like that already tipped them off. Like, this ain't right.
Yeah. And, like, they're yelling at her. They're like, don't come in. You don't have permission. And she's like, well, I'm coming.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. So then the second the door opens, right? So they open up the thing and they're like, what are you doing? Why did you park here? Boom, 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 boom. Dead. Everybody's dead.
All right. And, the whole party comes out, except for Mando, right? And they're all going and just, like, shooting. They're just an absolute wrecking ball through the whole ship, right? And they're just doing their thing, just, paving the way. And then it's like a couple minutes, and then Mando, like...
Yeah, Mando comes out. Do-do-do,
right.
do-do-do, do-do-do.
And he is in absolute sneak mode, right? And right now, the two missions is Mando is trying to get to the Dark Troopers and just shut the door on them, like, can't let them out. And this big old party is just a distraction, right?
And they're going to the bridge because they're assuming that Moff Gideon is at the bridge. So they're heading towards the bridge, and then Mando is going towards the brig, the prison.
Yes.
And it is the Dark Troopers are on the way. Right. So we're gonna shut down the Dark Troopers. We're going to get Grogu. Right.
Oh, something to talk about from before. When they were going over the plan and, Bo-Katan was like, listen, if I help you, I'm getting the ship and I'm getting the Darksaber. Because, like, those are the things that I need.
Yeah.
And Mando was like, I don't care. Like, I want the kid. He is my only priority.
My only priority. I loved that so much. Because people are always like, yeah, they're my first priority. But that means you got others.
You got others.
And he's like, no, I am here for my kid.
And that's it.
I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to... Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to kill somebody if they get in the way.
Him,
but, like, I'm not out for revenge of
I'm
Moff.
not here... Yeah, I'm not here for you.
Right.
I'm here for my child. I want my child, and I'm leaving, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I need my Grogu back.
Yeah. So, anyway, he's sneaking around. And, every now and then there's stormtroopers that run by, and he has to hide behind a wall, but he's fine. And, the big old party is just absolutely mowing through, right? And Mando gets to the door of the Dark Troopers right as they're about to come out. Like, he was a little bit late on his timing.
A little late.
And he puts in the thing, he puts in the code to close the door, and right as the door's about to close, you just... two big old robot hands grab the door and push it open. Yeah. And one of the Dark Troopers is able to walk out, and then the door closes. And I was worried.
Mando had a rough time. One thing though, so Mando, his timing to get there, you said like, oh, he was a little late, his time was a little off, but Moff Gideon said to turn on the
Dark Troopers immediately.
Yeah, before they even came out of the ship. Like, I don't think anyone shot yet, and he was like, turn them on.
Right.
And so that may have been a little bit earlier than they expected.
That's true.
And that's why he couldn't get there in time. But so the Dark Trooper hands comes out, and they're fighting, and he's punching him in the helmet.
I thought he was going to die.
It was so bad. His head was like... It was going into the wall. Like, he burst a pipe with the back of his head. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, your head's moving back, but, like, your shoulders aren't. Like, it's like, you're going to get decapitated this way. And it was so bad. And
it's so, I know this because I have a little bit of expertise, not expertise, but a little bit of knowledge in how helmets are supposed to be created. and like, you know, for human heads. And if you just have a hard helmet covering you, your head can still move around in the helmet, right? Yeah. So what I think Mando was doing is that he pressed up his head against the rest of his helmet because he knows that his helmet is not going to move. Because if you just have your head in the helmet, it's going to like, you know, you're going to get knocked out. So I think because he knows how it works, like he was just kind of like letting it happen and just like digging his head back and making sure that his head also doesn't move within the helmet, which is a small detail, but I was interested in.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, it was really cool. And like they were fighting and stuff, and then it gets to that point where it's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And then with a spear up the gut.
Up the neck.
The neck. This is not a gut. Up the neck. And it's just all the guts of the neck just
yeah.
Robot done.
I know. And
then he goes, he reaches for the like hatch. Cha! All the robots fly away.
Out into the airlock, right?
Out into the airlock.
But I mean, they're robots, and we'll come back to that.
Yeah. We keep moving.
Right.
Wait, we're at the stormtroopers. Oh no. So we get closer to the brig, and we can see the stormtroopers, and then it flashes to the bridge, right? And you got squad in the bridge, and they're shooting everybody, and then they're like,
where's Moff at? You know,
what's happening?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, completely just wrecking the game while they're doing it.
Oh yeah.
Going through everybody.
Exactly. Oh, while they were going through everybody, they were, you know, doing it, and then Cara Dune's machine gun jammed, and she was like, "Screw it, you know, this is why I got a big gun." She grabs it by the barrel and just starts smashing people.
Awesome.
I was like, yeah!
It was so good.
This is why we have big guns.
Yeah. It was really good.
And then she's in the elevator trying to fix it, and they're like, "Do you need help?" And she just slams it on the floor, and she's like, "I think I got it."
Yeah. So good. And now we killed the two stormtroopers that were guarding it. We get in. We've got Grogu.
Yeah.
We've got
guarding the brig.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got Grogu. We've got Moff Gideon, and we've got the saber.
Right on top of
baby.
Grogu.
Just hanging out right there.
And Mando's like, he's honestly surprised. He did not think that Gideon would be there, and he's like, And Gideon's like, "Put your gun down." He's like, "Ooh."
Yep.
Right?
Give me my kid.
And, you know, they have this discussion that, like, listen, I know you're here. Oh, I know you're here with Bo-Katan. I know you used your rockets. Just assume that I know everything. I was like, he does. He knows everything. Right? And Mando's like,
"Oh, I knew you used your rockets. I didn't know what he said."
Yeah, and the wrist rockets.
Yeah, because when he was putting down his blaster, I was like, "Well, he's still got like 50 other things. Yeah. But if he used his rockets, he doesn't have rockets and stuff like that." Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Gideon, I see you.
Exactly. Just assume that he knows everything, because he does. And Mando starts talking to him. He's like, "Listen, I don't care about the Darksaber. I don't care about anything. I just want the kid," right? So Moff Gideon, you know, before he called them savages, like they just murder people and like they don't care or whatever, like they're ruthless, right? You know, talking about our squad.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking there's a small chance that like maybe Moff Gideon not so bad, you know?
Gideon bad, Moff Gideon bad.
Right? So then, you know, like they have that conversation and Moff Gideon turns off the Darksaber and he's like, "Listen, get the kid. You go your way. I go my way.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't have to be messy, right?" Yeah. And
like, get the kid, get out.
So Mando's like, he complies and he goes towards the kid and he goes to grab him. And as that happens, Moff Gideon kind of positions himself behind Mando and then just starts, yeah. But he doesn't know, or maybe he does.
He does. He just, wasn't thinking.
Yeah, so he just unleashes on him, but the pure Beskar steel deflects all of those saber attacks, right? And now Mando is pissed, right? He's like, "Bro, we had a gentleman's agreement.
I made a deal. I'm a man of my word."
So now he's like, "Bro, now I gotta pull out my spear and do some dirty magic, you know?" And
the spear and saber fight was so much better than when Ahsoka and the first spear. Yeah. Like, that was so lame, and this was so good.
And like every time Mando would block the saber, like you would see it like glowing red hot, and I'm like, oh, is it gonna break? Like, you know,
it can't. It's Beskar. Right? But it was so cool. Yeah. Like,
and every time like he stopped it on his armor too, and that starts glowing. You're like.
Yeah, it must be like getting hot though. Like if his armor is glowing. I didn't notice the armor glowing.
Yeah.
I did notice the spear though.
Yeah. And then eventually, like one time he catches it on his armor, and then like he smacks it out of Moff Gideon's hands. And he beats him up a little bit. Now he's on the floor, and he's got the tip of the spear pointed at him. And like it's just like a half a second of a hesitation, but that's all Moff Gideon needed to be like, you're not gonna kill me.
Yeah, but he goes, you're gonna spare my life. You know, like with the sass.
Right. He's like, really?
Yeah. And then I think it stops there because our next scene is him bringing him in, cuffed.
He said, you go.
Yeah. So Moff Gideon's cuffed. He throws him on the ground. We've got Grogu in one arm and the freaking saber in the other. He's coming in.
Like, hey guys. Right.
And like he has the saber like out too.
Yeah. And Moff Gideon's smugness knows no bounds. And I love it. It's incredible. Because he is so happy to be experiencing what's going to happen. Now, like, from this point forward, he becomes a narrator of the episode to everybody in the episode.
Good.
Right? And he's explaining it to us, but also to Mando.
Yeah. And so so he throws him in, right? And then he looks at Bo-Katan and he goes, all right, just do it. Like, you got to kill him now.
Exactly.
And then everyone's just kind of like, what's going on? Well, I mean, like, the other Mandalorian knew what was happening.
Yeah.
But, like, our squad, Okara and Fennec. And Mando are just like, what's happening?
What are you talking about?
And then Bo-Katan looks so, like, distraught.
Right. She's like, oh, frick, bro. Yeah. And Moff Gideon starts explaining. He's like, Mando bested me in a fight, and he took the Darksaber. You, Mandalorian, cannot give it to Bo-Katan. She needs to beat you in a fight. And he's like, I yield.
That was so good. I yield. He's like, just take it.
Just take it, right? And then Moff Gideon is like, no.
That's not
the power of the weapon is not the weapon. It's the story. And I was like,
This was the next time I wrote something down, and I was like, Mando, King of Mandalore! Like,
right?
This is what's happening.
Hey, I'm for it. I am all for it, okay?
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm like, bro, like, what is going on? And then, you know, in the middle of that, we start getting the alarms, like, beep, 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 beep. Like, things are coming in.
Yeah.
And then, like, oh, like, what are the life forms? And there are none. And then, you know, it's the Dark Troopers that we just sent out of the airlock. And again, Moff Gideon becomes the narrator, and he's like, listen, it's going to be a valiant fight, but everybody in this room is going to die except for me and the child. And I'm just like, yo, let's go. You know?
Right?
And like, he's an interesting villain to me because I don't hate him at all. You know, like he's a bad man, and like I disagree with him. But like Joffrey was a disgusting person, like in Game of Thrones. But Moff Gideon is just so smart and like strategic that it's like he's just like a great challenge that you want to overcome, you know?
And he doesn't really, he's not evil.
Right.
Like he wants
he's in the
power.
Empire. He's just in the Empire, you know?
Like I want power.
Right.
And, you know, I'm going to do what it takes to get it.
Right.
And I'm smart and I'm cunning and I'm, you know.
Yeah.
I look evil because I don't, you know, I'm on the wrong team.
Right.
But like,
nah. If he was in the rebellions, he would be a genius. He would be the general. Like he would be the best. You know? But it's just the side that he chose. And so now the Dark Troopers are standing in front of the door, just bop, 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 and in unison.
Not like us.
And you know we've got our squad, guns pointed at the door, and while this is happening, Moff Gideon gets a gun, and he starts shooting at one of the Mandalorians, one of the blue ones, not Bo-Katan, the other one.
Yeah.
And she just like moves out of the way. She's like, "Stop shooting me," you know?
Yeah.
But she was blocking Grogu, so now Grogu is exposed, and Mando dad reflexes, bro. Just jumps right in front of the blaster shot. And then Cara Dune just like, knocks him out. She's like, stop it.
Yeah. I don't think that happened then.
You don't think that happened then?
I think that happened.
It happened in the room.
I think that happened after what happens while they're knocking.
You're right.
So they're pounding on the door. Bah, 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 bah.
Yes.
And then
one X-wing.
X-wing, thank you. I was like, an X-wing flies in, and we're like, what is happening?
And Cara Dune makes a joke. She's like, one X-wing, we're saved, you know? Like,
yeah. Like, what are we going to do with that, you know?
Yeah.
And then kind of just like, who called this guy? And like, what's happening? And then he lands, and they like radio to him. They're like, oh, identify yourself.
Yeah.
Doesn't answer.
And then the scene happens with the blaster, right? Like, while that's, you said.
I think it happens after we see a little bit of who's in the ship.
Oh, okay.
Comes out of the ship. He's got a cloak.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's a Jedi.
That's a Jedi.
That's a Jedi.
Like, simply, that's what it is.
Green saber.
Green lightsaber.
Which means a lot to people.
Right, exactly.
Not to me. Green saber. Sha, sha, sha. Killing all the troopers.
Dark.
Right? Yeah, well, yeah, all the regular troopers are already dead. We killed those already.
Exactly.
Slicing all the dark troopers, just making their way through, and this is when Moff Gideon is like, "Oh,
I need to do something."
Yeah, like there's no, I can't win.
Yeah.
And then he decides to do that.
Yes, you're right.
So he shoots at the Mandalorian, moves away, shoots at, or goes to shoot at Grogu. Mandalorian blocks it, and then he points it up at himself.
Right, that's right.
And then she's like,
yes.
Nope.
Yes.
You're not getting out of it this easy. And so he's got the gun here, and she knocks it out of his hand, and then knocks him. And I thought that was so good.
You gotta put him in his place, you know?
Yeah.
And now this mysterious Jedi is making their way through the ship and just flawless, just effortless, just slicing through everybody, using the Force, just all that. And this whole time, like, you know, with the green lightsaber, with the one X-wing, I'm like, I guess it's Luke, but like, you know, maybe it could be somebody else, you know? And, you know, like, oh, this person is thin, you know? They have a white hand, they're a white person, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that chest was a little bumpy. Could it be a girl? You know, like, what's the deal?
Yeah, and then like one hand's wearing a glove.
Right, one hand's wearing a glove.
About?
And it's the right hand. I'm like, it could be a coincidence, you know?
Yeah.
And then they finally get to the door, and Mando's like, open the door.
Yeah, because Grogu, he goes up to like the little screen, and he's like watching him do it, and he goes, you know? And so that's when like Mando's like, okay, open the door. And they're like, what? Are you crazy? Yeah. That guy just killed all those people. He's like, open the door.
He puts Grogu in the chair, clicks the button, door opens, right? And person walks in, and it's young Luke Skywalker.
It's
CGI. It's CGI-ish Luke Skywalker, you know. And at this point, he has defeated the Empire, right? Because it's post-Empire. So he's like, you know, full-fledged Jedi, right? And we're like, I don't know how to feel.
I like that it's Luke.
It makes sense.
I like that it's Luke, but I'm sad because that means that we're not going to really get to see any of the training and stuff like that, simply because, like, they're not going to be able to afford to CGI him that much, you know?
That, and Luke was trained by Yoda, right?
Yeah.
And
just
I feel
poetic.
Right. Well, yeah. And Luke kind of knows, like, in order to train them, you have to take them away from their ties, you know? Yeah. So I don't know when the next time we'll see Grogu is.
I'll see you again.
Yeah, I promise. That's a promise
that was
to
Mando.
Us, okay? I don't care what happens. That's a promise to us. Yeah. Like, we're going to see Grogu again, you know? And I hope so.
Yeah. That scene was so sad.
It was
I literally almost cried. And, like, my eyes are getting wet right now.
And
like,
so Luke shows up, and Grogu, like, you know, looks at him, and then he looks at Mando, and, like, he makes a sound, and Mando's like, oh, he doesn't want to go, you know, because, like, Mando doesn't want him to go, really, because, you know, he can't understand Grogu, but Luke can, and he said, he's asking for your permission. And Mando is just like, yeah, and he's like, you gotta go be with your people, you know? You gotta go be with your people. Yeah.
He puts him back on the
floor, but Grogu turns around and hugs his leg.
It's like, I'm not going.
He hugs his leg. Yeah. And then R2-D2 comes in, makes some bibbidi boppies, and Grogu's like, all right.
All right, if you go bibbidi bop, then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go if you bibbidi bop.
I'm gonna go if you bibbidi bop. And that's, as he's giving Grogu away, he takes off his helmet so that Grogu can see him.
He's holding Grogu. He's just staring at him and starts to cry. And Grogu's like,
yeah.
And then he goes and he like touches his face. He like looks in his eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
and then, you know, when Luke has him, he puts him on his shoulder. So as Luke is walking away, Grogu can see behind Luke, and Mando is still just staring at him, and he starts crying or starts tearing up, and they go away. And we don't have any inclination, any hint as to what season 3 is going to be. We know that there is going to be a season 3, but we don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, because like that was it. That was the end of
that was the storyline, you know?
Like that was the end.
Yeah.
Right? Ends, credits, blah, blah, blah. An actual end credit scene, because you know I like to call the last one a post-credit. And then it's a Boba Fett show.
Right. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. It looks fun.
Listen, we said it earlier. We could listen to Boba Fett talk all day, and that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah, and like I feel like it would have been dumb to bring him back and like bring the actual actor back for just this season. You wanted to turn that into something, especially because people are so excited for it. So like I love that they did that.
Yeah.
So like that's gonna be a cool show, December 2021. I'm for it. I just want to know what's happening next. Like,
I know.
Is Mando gonna go now and be king of Mandalore? Like,
I guess so, right?
Like he has
is the logical next step.
Like
because
we're
he's got
going
the Darksaber.
Yeah, we're gonna claim Mandalore.
It's tough, man, because like he's such a quintessential Mandalorian that he sticks to the code really well, and it's tough for me because like he just took off his helmet in front of all of these people, and you know Bo-Katan already does it, so like. You know, who's to say? But like, he was all about the Mandalorian code, you know, and he did this for the child, but now he's got the claim to the throne, you know. Yeah. So it's like,
yeah, but like also too, I think we don't see what happens next,
right?
But I think that he probably put his helmet back on before, like, turning around. So, like,
because all the other people saw the back of his head.
Yeah. So, like, yes, Luke saw his face. And obviously, Grogu saw his face. But I think that Grogu seeing his face would have been allowed. Because I think in season 1, he almost showed his face to his girlfriend.
Right.
Like, there was, like, maybe I'll do it, and like she kept wanting him to do it, and I was like, okay, maybe, but then he didn't do it. They broke up.
Right.
So like I think it would have been okay if it was just Grogu, and I think that's part of the reason he wanted to go by himself,
right? To
be able to like say goodbye, or not say goodbye, but
see
like
you later. I promise.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know that he knew that saying goodbye was going to be a thing, but I think he wanted to, like, show himself like, to Grogu this and, like, be like, oh my God, I'm so glad I have you.
Yeah.
But, wow, it was so good.
Yeah. And I'm very excited to see where they take it because I would love to see Mando.
King of the Mandos.
Become king, yeah. He's got the Darksaber and, like, to see him become, like, a master of the Darksaber,
that would be really cool.
That would be sick.
That'd be really cool.
One thing, you know, as we wrap up, it is so interesting, right, how close Luke came to realizing that Boba Fett was alive. You know, like, they were at the same place, just, you know, wrong times. Because for all Luke knows, Boba Fett's dead.
Yeah.
Like, he fell in the Sarlacc pit. That's it. He's done. And it's just because of the way that the plan was that Boba Fett didn't stay back. Because he would have been in the room with that. And I wonder what would have happened. What would have been Luke's response if he saw Boba Fett there? Would he try to kill him? Or would Boba Fett try to kill Luke? Like, how would that have played out? But we'll never know.
Never know. Yeah. Maybe we'll find out in Boba's show.
The Book of Boba Fett.
The Book of Boba Fett. Thank you. I did write it down. All right, so I think it's pretty safe to say that our opinions did not change. Yeah. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
So good. Drop your rating down below in the comment section. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching and watching our other videos. If you did, if you didn't, go check those out. Make sure you like this video and subscribe so you don't miss any future content. See you in the next one.